Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on this Monday in May. And we are very happy to have with us this morning to talk about unemployment concerns and some of the issues that so many people are sharing with us about their access to unemployment benefits, both here in the state of New Jersey and also with the federal PUA. We have with us today Brittany O'Neill, who is the Chief of Staff with our first legislative district, Senator Testa, Assemblyman McClellan, and Assemblyman Simonson. And we have Dominic DiCamillo, who is one of the administrative assistants to the Senator and the Assemblyman. So with that, I'm going to turn the program over to Brittany, who is going to share many of the things that she has learned as she has also been assisting people through this difficult time dealing with the Department of Labor with unemployment, filing claims, and issues that they are running into. So Brittany, I'm going to turn it over to you for some of your opening comments and remarks. And then as Nina said, I'm going to share some of the questions that have come to us, and then we'll take questions from the chat. So Brittany, it's all yours.
Great. Good morning, Vicki. Good morning, Nina, and good morning, many of the business owners and families of Cape May County. I want to first thank the Chamber of Commerce. You've been in such an active, responsive organization during this time, and without you, we would have not had so far 2 Zooms with our legislative team, and now this, which is critical during this time. I also want to extend my deepest apologies for the people that are going through this right now. Going through the unemployment process previously to this was never an easy process. I know that from personal experience with going with my mom years ago. But now on top of this, being forced to shut down your businesses, being asked to follow serious CDC guidelines and social distancing rules, we've really placed business owners between a hard place and a rock. And for many weeks on end, the Department of Labor was not able to give answers to our small businesses. So I cannot say for the same, as much as the Chamber's been an amazing advocate for your members, I cannot say the same for the New Jersey Department of Labor. Unfortunately, it's taken them 7 weeks, going on 8 weeks, to help small businesses, our families, and their employees. And it's just unfortunate that we're at the point we are, but hopefully I can describe a couple of things today and we can work together. I don't want any small business owner or employee of one of your businesses to each day have to be forced to call a line with a dial tone waiting for an answer for NJDOL. Hopefully now we can provide some of the tools and work with our office and the small businesses of Cape May County to try to get some answers. While the department has announced last week a couple of different announcements and updates on self-employment, extensions, and a few other issues, I'm optimistic on that front. However, understanding the department, I think that there will be a little bit more bumpy roads ahead of us, and hopefully a partnership with the Chamber and the Legislative District 1 office can help our constituents navigate those waters. Something I've learned about the process quickly within the past couple of weeks is that most of the people you see apply and have no problem whatsoever. They apply, they get their benefits, they understand that the weekly, their weekly benefit comes in, and then the $600 comes in a little bit later that week. However, one quick mess up on user error, or if the website times out, if you inputted your social security number wrong, if your employer's name was it was an LLC, not a INC, or you slightly typed in something wrong, we land in this limbo spot. And some may know that as the claim not payable spot. All errors at the end of the day need to talk to a representative or have a representative work on their case. So what our office does, in a sense, is the New Jersey Department of Labor has created us a form which we input all of your information and send it off to the Department of Labor. Once you get into that queue, we've seen actually really good results. That link was given to us about a week and a half ago, and now slowly our claimants are getting some answers. A lot of the time people believe it might be a misnomer that the Department of Labor now works with us and we work back and forth with the Department of Labor to get your case solved. That is not the case. Once we send the red flag up to the Department of Labor, we are now passing that case off to the Department of Labor. Something that they explain is that if they need more information, they will call you. They will not reach out to the senator's office. They will not reach out to the senator themselves. They will physically call you. If they do not need any more information, then that's where they will work on your case and try to figure out the kinks on their own. The problem with that is most of the time, if they are working on kinks and they fix it, they won't bring it to our attention and they won't bring it to your attention. It will just change magically in the back of the end of the Department of Labor's website, and your claim will be able to be processed. So what I've been giving the suggestion to constituents that come to us and send us our case is, unfortunately, this has become like a process, like I would say flossing or brushing your teeth, to check the website twice a day, once in the morning to see if your claim's been updated after we send it up to Department of Labor, and once at night, because during that time span of night and day, they might fix a couple of things. And that's a process that I ask people to do at least for 10 to 14 days once they talk to our office. If they do not hear something within 14 days, that's another call to our office. And that's where we've been a little bit more aggressive with the Department of Labor, asking them for answers, asking them to talk. I had a woman where I've been actively working on her case for the now 7 weeks. And finally it was sending her personal information. You deserve this woman a call because you told me for 7 weeks that this case was going to be fixed and it hasn't been fixed. So this woman needs a personal call, and you walk her through. Finally, she was able to get her a call from the Department of Labor, and they walked her through the process and fixed a couple of errors that she was doing each time. So it is one, asking the Department of Labor to do their job, make the system better, but it's also on the Senator's office to alert the Department of Labor on the cases that are in our district. And then the third thing would be to be vigilant for yourself, and each day explain to your employees that this is not a simple process, unfortunately, and it does create a little bit more effort. I believe that the twice a day looking for 14 days is probably the best option. I understand it might get a little discouraging on the 6th, 7th, 8th day, but it is very important that your case, before reaching back to us in that 14-day time span, might have been solved, and you just haven't updated and checked that link that says your claim is now payable. Once you do get that link that says, oh, your claimant is now payable, then the next step is to be be very specific and check every single day about what days you're supposed to change and put in your claim. I know the Department of Labor each week has changed that up on people, and it's honestly put people back on that limbo process. So every day is going with the flossing and brushing of your teeth, check up on when your day is to file, and make sure that that's a daily checkup as well. Because you might have looked yesterday and it was the next day at 10 o'clock, but this morning they put a new schedule out and it was actually tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So it's very important to be up to date on that. Other than that, I really appreciate everyone joining this. And if you want to throw in some questions in the group chat, and I'll be able to answer them. But I believe, Vicki, you have a bunch of questions that hopefully I'll be able to answer.
Okay, so I just want to preface this by, also sharing that, Brittany and Dominic have been working on this issue, probably more than most issues. And they're sharing their own expertise that they have learned along the way, and certainly not speaking on behalf of the senator and the assemblyman. Just wanted to share that as well. They're sharing, their personal knowledge and expertise, and not speaking on behalf of our elected officials. So the first question being, and most common feedback that we are getting, and I think you touched on this, so I don't know that we need to do it any further, but is about hearing back on the claim. And so we talked about what we should do. So I know that folks might put in some specifics about their claim in the chat, but we're going to move on from that. So the next thing would be, what should employers do if employees are not returning to the job when they are called back because the employee is perhaps making more on unemployment with between the state benefit and the federal $600 a week on that they're getting on unemployment.
So I have a constituent experience with this where, actually not a constituent, outside personal friend that they had a employee that was making money through unemployment. They got a PPP loan, so they had to bring back this employee. Unfortunately, the employee said, "Oh, I was too scared to return to work." However, under the current law, if you get your job offered or a job offered to you from your previous employer, you are not able to claim unemployment anymore. That is different if they want to try FMLA and other types of programs like that if they have a family member. But when it comes to physical unemployment, something when you claim each week is the first question was, are you ready and willing to work? And are you, have you been offered work? If you are asking this person back to your payroll and they continuously claim, that means they're lying on their form. So my recommendation is, first, it's very difficult to say, hey, come back to work during a pandemic. But second, you are business owners and you have to have employees if you have the PPP loan. So I would suggest reaching out to the Department of Labor and letting them know, my company is now able to back to work, and these are the employees that I'm bringing back to work. I can find a really good link or maybe an email for the Department of Labor of where your businesses can reach out to, if that's possible, or maybe that's something we can work with your local businesses on. But if you have an employee that's refusing to work and they do not classify for unemployment anymore, then I would reach out to the Department of Labor. There is, because of the COVID-19, there are a series of other arrangements that allow people to receive payments, such as employee, maybe if they have a sick relative at home, they could apply for the FMLA extension benefits that we gave during this time, but that is a separate program than unemployment itself. So I'd recommend reaching out to the Department of.
Okay, so right around the time that the COVID-19 pandemic hit, a lot of people were beginning to exhaust their unemployment benefits, and then we had the 13-week extension. Some of those people have not started receiving their benefits under the 13-week extension. Is there something specific that they should do?
So there's two. Well, the department lays it out really well. There's 3 types of scenarios that, at least during this time, you're allowed to apply right now. However, as many of us know, the Cape May County region is a tourism region. So a lot of people work during the summertime, and then starting October and November, use their unemployment and exhaust it during the March time. So we were really, because of this strategy that we've been living on cycle season, have placed people at a standstill. Extension of benefits have been not announced. Governor Murphy said that they will be starting to roll out on the 18th of May. So that puts us at 7 more days of people not, or 1 week more of people not being able to apply. However, there are a series of benefits that you are eligible for. So there's a series of scenario A, which the department describes on a day after July 8th, 2018, someone filed for unemployment. They have not worked since those 2018, 2020 dates when they originally collected. They exhausted all their benefits and their year has ended. They need to wait for the Department of Labor to reach out to them. So very similar to the PUA, small businesses, the department will probably, I cannot speak for the department, but if they go with the same process of the PUA benefits, they most likely will reach out to that person that's been exhausting their benefits. And Governor Murphy did announce the March 18th date. So we're gonna hold him to that date. These are people that are now, one, they were receiving partial payments because they were getting part of, like, let's say they make $100 and they're only getting 70 of that through the winter time. These people are now being out of unemployment, I'm saying, since mid-March. So if this is not completed by March 18th or May 18th, that's something we're going to be very concerned about that. There's a scenario B, on the day after July 8th, 2018, they filed for unemployment. They've worked since those dates when they collected unemployment. If this describes them, they need to file a new claim. So make sure they file a new claim, and I would just make sure if you are a section person and you had previously filed for unemployment, try to get as many documentations from that as possible. We've seen people were in this type of scenario originally, and because they had one open claim, they were denied to refile, saying, oh, you already opened a claim. So I'm not suggesting that people will fall into this category. However, if it does tell you, oh, you can't file, you already have a claim, that is a reason to reach out to our office. When you reach out to our office, explain, I had a previous claim, this is the year of the claim, it needs to be closed for me to reopen and refile. So that's I can put our number in. It's 609-778-2012. And if you are in that category, that's what we'll tell DOL. We'll say, hey, this person has a claim from 2018. They finished the claim on this date. Can you close this so they can refile? And once we send that out, hopefully they'll update it and you'll see on your back end that you're able to file a claim. Then there's scenario C, and I apologize, many people probably read this website back and forth, but on July 1st of 2019, so many of the families in Cape May County filed for unemployment benefits. They have not utilized all of their 26 weeks. If this describes them, they need to reopen the claim if it's closed and then begin to recertify. However, people that are reopening these claims are finding trouble with the system hasn't been 100% easy to work with. So I would recommend this scenario reaching out to our office as well if they're having problems reopening a claim, if they forget their PIN, if you forget your password, all of those different things can lead to some situation where you end up getting an error message. I 100%, if you're going through this, every document, every screenshot, every page you fill out, if you fill everything out, take a screenshot of that page with your phone so you know exactly what you put in there, because a lot of the time a comma missing or a period missing or you type in your employer wrong can put you at a high risk of getting an error message. So just double check and never exit out of the system, and understand you do have a time limit on the system. So it's about preparing everything previously to applying and understanding the questions each time you have to answer, understanding the answers that you're going to give previously to that. And the Department of Labor does have the questions outlined, and it does give you what answers you're supposed to choose. So I would follow those answers unless you get, this goes back to the original comment of if an employee is asked back to work, then do not lie to unemployment, because that will really hurt you later with the unemployment system.
Okay, so I know we're getting a lot of questions in the chat. I have a couple more questions I wanted to ask before we jump into the chat. Let's talk about claims, because this is a new category that a sole proprietor or an independent contractor can now file, because a lot of people are having trouble with that. Can you talk about that category of claim?
They are eligible now with the PUA program and the CARES Act. So the number one thing is you have to get denied first from the system. Then the second thing is the Department of Labor will now issue you an email saying you are able to claim. There is a hiccup where people go and they're unable to go in and claim. Either they've not made enough money in the previous year. Some people just started businesses in January that might not cover this CARES Act, or some independent contractors. I had a guy call and say I have 16 different contracts and I need to put this all in, and it's only a 30-minute time span, and that's too difficult for me. So I would say if you applied, got denied, and have not received the second email or the first email, check your spam folder that might have gone there. If it's not in your spam folder, then call our office, and our office will let the department know, hey, this person applied. They're eligible under the CARES Act. However, they did not receive their email to apply. Other than that, those two individuals kind of are lumped in the same. And then so people know, because I know this is a question, that once you apply each week, the $600 is not come with your unemployment. If you make $100 on unemployment, you're not getting a deposit of $700. You're getting one deposit of $100, and then a couple of days later, you'll get the $600. If it's gone weeks without $600 payments, let our office know, and we'll be able to reach out and say, hey, this person's been claiming since March 26th. Every week they've received their benefits. However, they have not received the CARES Act $600. We'll send that over to the Department of Labor. And I've had a couple of people get lump sums. So they'll get the $1,200 in 1 week because they've missed 2 weeks. So that's another reason to call our office.
Okay. If a business owner took a draw rather than a salary from their business, are they eligible for unemployment? So this really goes back to the independent contractor. There have been a lot of questions about how a business owner or an independent contractor is qualifying their income. Mm-hmm. So are there any specifics that they need to know about to be eligible?
So what I would prepare yourself with is every single tax document you've had the past 2019. I know the website, it does offer like sections where you input like how much you took in taxes and things like that. I'm guessing a draw because you're drawing money from the business and you are the sole proprietor. You should be eligible for this. Dominique, am I correct on that?
Yeah, I think so. It's just a matter of you have to report your wages too, also as an independent contractor. But I'm pretty sure.
Okay. And so then wrapping up these questions before we go to the chat, looking ahead, there is concern about, when business does reopen, people working enough then to start their claim, taking them into 2021. Are there discussions going on to, for looking for the unemployment claims going into the next year, people working enough, having enough time, those 26 weeks that they'll need going into 2021?
So that is a startling reality of where we are right now. And that puts us between the are we reopening conversation versus are we not reopening conversation. It really, at this point, because of the executive power of Murphy, relies on Governor Murphy to open our businesses. However, if we're pushed into a season where we can't open businesses and employees do not have jobs this summer, going back to my statement earlier, if we don't get people on the books this summer, they're going to be forced to go into unemployment in the fall and have no benefits. At this point, the CARES Act is only 13 weeks. There is no additional CARES Act that provides more time. That is a really startling date for many of the tourism industry folks in Cape May County. I think I cannot speak, as Vicki said earlier, for the senator. However, that is something that's a major concern for us, and we are looking actively into legislation. And I hope that the federal government as well is understanding that tourism is a huge part of our coastal, from Maine to Florida and Oregon to California. That's a huge part of the summer season, and we need to ensure that those chunks of tourism industries are provided aid. Something I did, I was working on last week, and Senator Testa was able to vote on. Not that this affects employees itself, but it would affect the business owners of tourism industries. We did vote on legislation that's a hospitality bill that would provide hospitality industry based, and under hospitality is the definition of tourism. So that would include your local nonprofits, theaters, to all the way to an amusement park. Delaware's working on a program, and they've appropriated $100 million to the NJEDA loan grant programs, and now added this hospitality program to it. So hopefully this is a second pocket of money for our small business owners. If passed by the assembly and placed on the governor's desk, that would provide additional help for small businesses that are in the tourism hospitality sector to be able to reopen, provide their employees payment, and ensure that we could move forward and get people out of this unemployment loop that we're facing inevitably if we don't make large decisions on.
So thank you for bringing that up, Brittany. We sent out an action alert about that legislation. So I'd encourage everyone to respond to that action alert, to have the assembly pass that bill and the governor sign it.
Yeah.
So with that, Brittany, do you want to go to the questions in the chat and talk about some of those questions?
Of course. There are a bunch of questions. I just want to preface it, without understanding the details of your case, I won't be able to, unfortunately, give an accurate 100% this is how you're going to solve your case. However, hopefully I can point you in the right direction. I'm going to say most of the time the right direction is to call our office, which Dominique's put the number in, but hopefully we'll be able to work through these. My largest concern, this is for Lori. I apologize if I don't have glasses on. My largest concern is what we need to open for takeout for sustainability. Many of my employees are ready and willing to work. However, many key employees are not. I know that they may not refuse to work. However, what are the procedures in place to stop this? I believe I talked on this earlier. If you open up your business and they do not fall into the FMLA benefits program, which we can put that link, Dominique, I don't know if you're able to find the, there's a chart the DOL puts up. If they don't fall in that FMLA and you are opening back up, we will send you the link to let the DOL know. The goal of the PPP programs, the goal of reopening our community, many of these small businesses need to put people back to work. If you have a PPP loan and you're unable to use that 75% on employees, the loan's not good anymore. So unfortunately, the $600 kind of gave a serious push to many people. That's more than they would be making, but if you are offered a loan, or if you are reopening and offering those employees back, we are recommending that you work with your employees to figure out if they're eligible for FMLA or if they should go back on the books. And if they are eligible to go back on the books, then it is a alert to the NJDOL. Okay, so Teresa, you filed in March. You're an independent contractor. Your claim consistently says 0 and filed. You've tried to certify twice and the system always is down. Also, I cannot reach anyone at the call center, so I have no idea where my claim stands. So independent contractor realtors in March were ineligible for the PUA because the federal government had not given guidance. If you have been denied, you should have been denied originally, and if you have not received a PUA email from the NJDOL, then I reach out to our office. So the first step is apply, and if you get denied, then you get sent a letter. So it looks like it says filed. I would try to reach out to our office, and Dominique will put the number down, and we'll be able to send your case over to the Department of Labor. As I said before, it might take up to 14 days, but in those 14 days, there are steps you can take twice a day, every day. Once you send the case over in the morning, check your claim. At the night, check your claim. Flossing your teeth, ensuring that every single paperwork you have is prepared previously to your hour that you're supposed, or the half hour you're supposed to claim. And finally, every single day, or at least the day before you're supposed to claim, or 2 days before you're supposed to claim, check your time schedule. I promise you, if I can trust anything, it's not to trust the DOL schedule on Sunday. It will change. And unfortunately, that is where we are now. And I cannot take responsibility for the Department of Labor's rapid changing of schedules. However, I can say it's up to all of us, including our office, to be aware of the time changes and to let people know of them. So call our office and hopefully we'll be able to send the DOL, I call it a red flag, to let them know that you have filed and you still haven't gotten any information from the DOL. Anna Marie, I have waited until my claim status changes from filed with 0 benefits to payable with monetary variable before I am able to certify my weekly claim. Is this correct? I would have to know if you are a small business, an individual that's an employee, before answering that question. I would say that I would go in each week to see if you could file. When you go in and type in your Social Security during that time, it will tell you if it's payable or not. So I wouldn't wait for the claim status to change if you are eligible. If you are eligible and you're an employee, just try once putting in your claim status, filling out all of the correct information, making sure you first go to the Department of Labor's website, read the guide. Did you work this week? How much were you paid? They will outline in big bold letters how you answer each question. And if you're unable to then apply and you've been denied, it will say not payable at this time when you claim, then reach out to our office and we'll try to figure out if there's a snag in the system. Colleen, could you please have a link? I've had 3 employees who will not come back and I received PPP loan. I will get that to you.
I put it in there.
Oh, you did? Perfect.
Yeah, it's that you can fill out. If you just go on the New Jersey Division of Labor website, there's a tab for employers and you click the drop down arrow. There's a lot of information on there. But I put the link in there for you to fill out if someone refuses to come back to work.
I would also, this is not based on my personal suggestion. This is something someone told me that they're doing. They're a small business owner. They just put the person on the payroll. That, okay, I'm sending them payroll because I have to pay them to keep the PPP loan. However, I would talk to your financial advisor or whoever is your banker to say, like, what's the best option? Because there's 2 things. You don't want to wait for the employee to finally get their wits together and come back when you do have obligations to fill with the PPP loan. So I would also ask a financial advisor that question of what you should do with a PPP loan before making any decisions. So we have the link down below. Provide an email to communicate with the Department of Labor, not about work. I wish I had an email for the Department of Labor. We've been provided an email at the beginning of this. They've been told us that the email is no longer accessible, so the Department of Labor has made a Microsoft form for the legislator. So there is no email for the Department of Labor at this time. I think there's been spreadsheets that have been passed along on Facebook that ended up boggling up the department's email chain. But at this point, unless it's a non-unemployment claim and it's a different labor question, that we can ask someone separately. And I would ask for you guys to reach out to our office if it's a non-unemployment question. We could hopefully find that answer for you.
So I'll jump in here and add that when we had our webinar with Department of Labor Commissioner, he told us that they were going to add a portal to the labor website for business owners to enter information if there was an employee who refused to return to work because of the issue that we're talking about where the benefit, they were supposedly making too much money on unemployment rather than return to work. There are the other issues at play that if an employee, feels concern for health, and that's why they're not returning to work. But now I don't know if that portal has been added to the labor website or not. And on Wednesday, we are partnering with the Chamber of Commerce of Southern New Jersey, and the Labor Commissioner is a panelist on that program. If we'll have additional information about that portal or not, but that would be very helpful if there was a way to report this information about getting employees back to work, because that is one of the most common concerns that we are hearing from the business community, is getting their employees back, because it's certainly better to bring back an employee who knows their job. There's no training issues and things like that for the existing employee, rather than bring somebody new back on, because when business does reopen in the county, we need to be ready to go, rather than to bring staff back on. New staff into these positions, because it's so much more expensive to train new employees and be ready to go, especially when we expect new protocols to have to be put in place. If we have to train people on new protocols plus train them to do the job in the first place, that's just even more involved.
So there's a bunch of questions in regards to individual cases. I'd recommend reaching out to our office. It is the 609-778-2012 number, and we'll be able to walk you through if it is what type of problem it is, and if it is something we can send to the Department of Labor for an error. If an employee, I think there is still, if an employee comes back to work before their 13-week extension is exhausted, is the claim again then in the fall. I do not know. I apologize for this, and I think this is something I can look into the original CARES Act. If the 13 weeks is a 13 weeks definite time of everyone gets the same 13 weeks and it ends in I think it's a June date, or if it is that person's given an extension of individually their 13 weeks. So there's two ways it could go, and I'll figure that out for you. I have to look into the federal legislation on that. But it is a good question. And that question is from Lisa. Lisa, do you mind popping your email in the bottom so I can reach out to you individually? And then the PUA email does come from the Department of Labor themselves. And then do you advise them if they have any questions of intentions of work, just treat them as voluntary quit? I would, oh, go ahead, Dom.
I got it. I texted Lori. Pretty much for Lori's question, if they originally, when they applied for unemployment, there's a question that they ask, and it says, do you expect to be recalled back to work? If so, do you have a date? Most people by default have to say yes, because if they say no, they don't expect to be recalled to work, then they will most likely get denied unemployment. If they hit yes, that means that they had every intention on going back to work when their work opened, because they're going to write, my work closed because of COVID-19. So once their work opens, that means they were anticipating to go back to work. If they are refusing to go back to work, that means they lied on the initial application. They're going to continue to lie to certify for weekly benefits, and you can just report that as a whole, and they'll stop getting the unemployment money. They'll either have to return back to work, or they won't have a job anymore.
In regards to Holly and the childcare issue, I would recommend going to the Department of Labor's website, and there is a chart. Actually, Dominique, can you pull up the Department of Labor's chart and put that in?
Yeah.
The one with the FMLP benefits. That chart, physically, it's very handy when the Department of Labor put it up. It pretty much tells you exactly the crisis of the individual answers for each of the question, and it tells you which of the state benefits someone applies to. So we'll find that and put them in there.
And Brittany, when folks are contacting your office, should they be directing the question to anyone in particular, or just leaving a generic message?
I apologize. Could you repeat that?
When people contact your office about an unemployment issue, should they direct the question to anyone in particular, or just leave a message in the voicemail box?
So I would recommend just saying, hi, my name is Brittany O'Neill. I have an unemployment question. Can you call me back? Phone number, best, easiest number to call. Our full entire staff from top to bottom is trained in how we ourselves work with unemployment cases. So anyone will answer. I know from personal experience with our office is at 8 o'clock, we already have 12 messages from the day, and normally the weekend we have a bunch of messages. So we try to go through them. We do have people that answer the phones every day, and then we do have people that are trained to answer voicemails and call you back. Sometimes I do have to say our Google number is not it doesn't come up with reader ID. So we try to call people back and they don't answer us because they don't know the ID number. That's causes I guess a back and forth with the constituent. If that does occur, then we just text the constituent saying, hey, I am trying to call you from a Google number. It doesn't have the ability to have voice or caller ID. Can I call you, or can I call you on my cell phone? And we've been doing that strategy.
Okay.
So the reemployment call center is answering any calls. Should we continue to try? I don't know if that center is actively and open, but I can try to find out. And if it's not on active right now, I can see if there is a better way. If you don't mind, I made a Google form. If everyone wants to be able, if they have any questions, and I know most of the time you have questions in your Snap. I should have asked this. If I can give everyone a form if they want to ask questions, and we can, if they have questions tomorrow or 2 days from now, maybe they can fill out this form and we can answer those questions. Dom, I don't have to, oh, perfect.
I got it.
I asked the question about, here's my email. Perfect. Could you grab Lisa's email?
Yep.
Does anyone else have any questions? Or if I didn't answer something and you wanted me to go over it, or if there's a topic that you would like to know more about, please let us know.
Okay, let's see. Let's see, did you see the question about the company's rate increasing if employees are putting in claims?
Will a company, I don't know what company rate means. I apologize.
Okay.
Rate as in employees coming in, or rate as in, oh, insurance rate. That I don't know. I can ask and find out. And then Dom, can you put our email in? So will insurance rates increase if Tara, do you mind, by claim, do you mean unemployment claim, or claim as in, I know there's legislation on the table right now that an employee is possibly allowed to file for claims if they get sick at work. So do you mean unemployment claim? All right. And Tara, what is your email? I don't know. Tara, are you able to send us an email? Oh, perfect. And Dominique, can you write that down for me? put our email and everything in the chat if you have any questions. In regards to unemployment, I always recommend to reach out to our office. Our office may not have the answer immediately or may have to direct it to unemployment and the DOL's sheet, but at least once you know you're on that log and once we know you're on that log, I know that the Department of Labor and the Murphy administration has been aware that you have a problem on your case. And that is the #1 issue we're having, that people went weeks without reaching out to us and now are at the 7-week mark where it's going to take an additional 14 days for them to get, oh, red flag, red flag. Well, if you told me 2 weeks ago, hopefully the 14 days will pass. So any type of employee has a problem, I would say spread our number around. And then I'm going to give my personal cell if you are a business owner and you're in, have any additional questions that are non-COVID related or COVID related as running your business. It might be a federal question, so I would direct that to Congressman Mandrew, but if it is a state legislative question, never hesitate to text me. It's probably the best way to get my attention. And that's my personal cell.
So I don't see any more questions coming in. I think we're wrapping up here. And I think you guys have really given us some great information this morning. I want to thank you all very much. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I think you've been treated to some real inside information today. Getting Brittany's personal cell is quite a coup.
Oh, no,
and well, I think everybody's going to really get access to help for their claims. The Google Doc for submitting your questions, that's a great idea. And also being able to, just call with your questions and email your questions. Hopefully everybody's going to have their situations resolved, and share this information with others that you know are having questions and problems. And also the other programs that we talked about this morning that the Chamber has coming up, we believe that they're going to be just as helpful and informative as well. So Brittany, Dominic, any other closing thoughts or pieces of information, programs that you have coming up that you think would be equally as helpful for everybody?
So in regards to, I just want to wrap up a couple of statements. So I can make it a little bit clearer. Sometimes I talk in circles. But the first thing is, if you're having trouble, please reach out to us. I know Vicki and Nina have been great with the Chamber of Commerce, letting us know the problems you guys are having on the ground as small business owners. Now that business owners are eligible for this PUA program, and that's dating back to the original date that you filed your claim, it's important that every one of our small businesses, all of our constituents, if you deserve unemployment, our office will go to bat for you. This is not something that is a national, this is not something that you did as a business owner. This is a government shutdown that was placed and enforced on you. And we don't believe that any small business owner should be placed at risk to close down shop or not put food on their families' tables, because many of the small businesses and entrepreneurs in Cape May County and Cumberland County and a part of Atlantic we have, you went in this for the right reasons. You wanted to build something of your own, help others, employ others, and we're grateful that the risks you've taken as small business owners. If you started your business 20 years ago, if it's a family multi-generation business, or if you just decided to start this January and you're left in limbo. So we will continuously every single day work to ensure that you get the right funds you deserve. And Governor Murphy said that you will get every single dime. So I'm holding him accountable. And I know Senator Testa and Assemblyman Simonson and McClellan are holding him accountable to that statement. So I really appreciate all of you, and thank you so much for the Chamber of Commerce. And anything that we have coming up with the Senator and Assembly people, we'll let you know. And I know there's a bunch of legislation in the next couple of days, and we'll keep the Chamber aware of that.
Thank you so much. Tomorrow morning at 10:30, Freeholders Maury and Desiderio will be joining us on a town hall to talk about Cape May County's reopen plan. Senator Testa has been advocating for that plan with the governor, and we hope that you will join us to hear about that plan that the Cape May County Task Force worked on to deliver to the governor. On the chamber website, we have a lot of the guidance protocols broken down by industry sector. So we invite you to check those out to see, what is recommended that businesses do to get your businesses ready for reopening, and a lot of other great programming coming up. So with that, we wish everyone a great day, and best of luck in getting your unemployment issues worked out as quickly as possible. And please let us know whatever we can do to help you. If you have an idea for programming, let John Kelly, let Nina, let Brigitte, let me know. We're here to help. So thanks so much and have a great day.
Thank you.